staff at 150 universities across the UK are beginning 18 days of strike action over pay, conditions and pensions. The University and College Union was offered a more generous pay deal last week for 2023 to 24 worth between 5 and 8%. Yes, 8% pay rises for those on the lowest wages. But the union rejected that deal outright. Well, we can head now to Glasgow University to talk to Mary Senior, the Scotland official at the University and College Union. Mary, thank you so much for making the time for us this morning. Why is 8% too low a pay rise? Seems like quite a generous offer.
Good morning. Well, I think the first thing I would say is that staff in universities, that's lecturers, student support workers, librarians, IT staff, they've seen their pay drop by over 25% since 2009, and we've got inflation in double-digit figures. So, staff want an inflationary pay uplift. And I think the second thing I would say is that for the pay round in which we're in dispute about, which is the 22-23 pay round, the employers have imposed 3% on our members, a 3% uplift, as I say, when inflation is over 10%. Now, you're right to say that the employers did come forward with a new offer last week, and for the vast majority of workers in the sector, that was a 5% offer, but that 5% isn't going to be paid until August 2023. There'd be some amount, I think 2% of it would come forward in February, but the vast majority, the full 5% offer wouldn't be in people's pay packets until August 2023. Well, our members are facing soaring energy bills, food prices that are inflationary right now, so it's very clear why that isn't enough. Plus, the offer from the employers has done nothing to address unsafe workloads, the casual contracts that we see so often in the sector, and pay inequality. So, our members are incredibly frustrated and angry that they don't have a decent pay offer and that all of these other issues haven't been addressed.
You said in your answer there that your members are wanting an inflationary pay increase. And doesn't that get to the nub of it, really? That the government is concerned that if we match exactly inflation this year with pay increases right across the board, that embeds inflation for the long term. That means inflation stays in our system for longer and actually decreases the value of the pay in the first place.
Well, we're in dispute with the university employers. It's the university employers that we are negotiating with. And, our members are struggling right now. Housing costs, energy costs, food costs, fuel costs. Our members, their pay has already lost value by 25% since 2009. So we need the employers to really value the workers in the education sector and give them a decent pay rise, as well as addressing those other issues that I've mentioned, the casual short-term contracts that give our members no job security, the pay inequality, and I should say there's two disputes here. We're also in dispute over pensions and cuts to the pension scheme. Last year, the employers forced through cuts to the pension scheme, which means that people are losing 35% of their guaranteed pension income, and this is when the pension scheme we know now is in surplus, so there was absolutely no need for those cuts to go through. So, people are suffering pay cuts now and pension cuts when they retire. We really need to do better for a sector which people like to say is world beating. It clearly can do better.
Why is this strike going on now? Why today? Of course, we heard just yesterday, that GDP growth forecasts have been downgraded, that the economy is this year getting smaller rather than bigger, that there isn't the money to fund these pay increases. Why were these disputes not brought forward earlier? Why now, in concert with so many different other sectors of the economy? Does it not seem like the wrong time to be asking for this, when, frankly, the pot of money is shrinking?
Well, we've been asking for a decent pay rise for a long number of years. Indeed, this dispute has its origins last year. Our members took 3 days of strike action in November, which, as you've indicated, has brought the employers back to the table on pay, and they've improved on the 3% pay offer that came forward last year. But we clearly need to do better, and trade unions can't just snap their fingers and take strike action. We had to go through a long balloting period. We then had to give 14 days notice to the employers of the industrial action. So all of those procedures have been through. But I think what I would say is, the university sector across the UK it can do better. We have university vice chancellors and principals, earning £300,000 or more. We know that there are surpluses in universities, particularly in parts of the UK. So, our members, need to pay their bills. They need to meet their bills, and the university sector needs to do better.